Welcome to The Explainer. Today we've got a really fascinating story about business strategy. It's about how one company, faced with a sudden trade war that threatened its single biggest market, didn't just survive. It found a clever way to pivot that might have actually made it stronger. This is a great story about strategy in a wild world of tariffs and tech booms.
So let's just jump right in with a big number, shall we? TD Power Systems just announced a 36% year-over-year jump in income. Wow. A number like that is a huge signal that something is going very, very right for them. And look, at 36% jump, that's not just a fluke. That's not a lucky break. It's the result of some really solid, broad-based growth. So let's pop the hood and see where all this growth is actually coming from.
And when you look at their order book, what really jumps out is just how diverse it is. I mean, sure, their core business, generators and motors, that makes up the lion's share, nearly 11 billion Indian rupees. But look at railways. That is a massive chunk on its own. It really shows you this company is not just a one-trick pony. So you add it all up, and their total order book is sitting at nearly 15 billion rupees. That gives them some incredible stability for the year ahead, right? They can see the road clearly. But just when everything looked like smooth sailing, a massive roadblock gets thrown right in their path, and in their most important market, no less. Yeah, this is where the story takes a really sharp turn. The company is absolutely firing on all cylinders. Everything's going great, and then, bam! A huge wrench gets thrown right into the gears of their export machine. Let's talk about the U.S. tariff challenge. And you don't have to take my word for it. According to the company's own management, the United States is their most critical market, and it's their fastest growing one. They described the demand coming from the U.S. and Europe as, quote, extremely high, and they were expecting a huge wave of new orders. But then, that super hot market just puts up a massive wall. The U.S. government imposes a brand new 25% tariff, and it's aimed specifically at generators being shipped from India. I mean, talk about a direct shot right at the heart of their entire export strategy. And you know what's crazy? That 25%, that was just the opening shot. The real threat, the thing that probably kept them up at night, was that the tariff could climb all the way to a staggering 50%. An increase that high could have completely wiped out their cost advantage and crippled their entire U.S. business. So what do, right? Your main highway to your most important customer is suddenly blocked by this massive financial barrier. Do you panic? No! You find a clever detour. You activate Plan B. And this is where they got really, really clever. So it turns out the company has a manufacturing facility in Turkey. By shifting the final stages of production to that plant, the product's country of origin legally changes from India to Turkey. And just like that, it's no longer subject to that crippling 50% tariff. I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day. Shipping from India meant staring down a potential 50% tariff. But by using their Plan B through Turkey, they now only faced a much, much lower 15% duty. This one move completely sidestepped the primary threat. And here's the real kicker. In their own words, they still maintain an arbitrage, which is just a fancy word for a cost advantage of around 20 percentage points compared to their European competitors. So this pivot didn't just save their business, it kept them highly, highly competitive in their most important market. Okay, so cleverly dodging tariffs is one half of the story, a really smart half. But the other half is why there's so much demand in the first place. And it turns out they are perfectly positioned to capitalize on some of the biggest tech shifts happening in the world right now. So, what's driving all this demand? Well, it's kind of the perfect storm. You have the explosive growth of AI and data centers, and those things need a staggering amount of power. At the same time, you have countries refurbishing old hydro plants, electrifying railways, and facing a global shortage of power equipment. All of this is happening at once, and it's creating a massive opportunity. And they aren't just meeting today's demand, they're investing now to meet future demand. They're setting up a new design center in the UK specifically to build the next generation of massive 150 megawatt generators. Just to give you a sense of scale, a single one of those can power tens of thousands of homes. So you'd think with all this tariff chaos and global volatility, the message from the company might be one of fear, or at least uncertainty. But that's not what we heard at all. The message was one of proactive, clear-eyed confidence. And this quote is just such a powerful statement. Management is essentially telling the market that their own official forecasts are too conservative. They see so much demand and have navigated the tariff challenge so effectively that they are signaling a significant upside is coming. If there's one key takeaway from this whole story, I think it's this. In today's volatile world, having a great product isn't enough. The ability to be agile, to diversify your operations, and to always have a plan B ready to go, that's what separates the companies that just survive from the ones that truly thrive. And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? The demand for electricity to power our future, from AI to electric vehicles, is almost limitless. It suggests that the companies that can strategically navigate today's geopolitical challenges are the ones best positioned to build and profit from the infrastructure of tomorrow.